Good day and welcome to the breakdown on the United Hour, where we break down Manchester United's performances in our last game or performance in our last game. Manchester United won, Burnley won, more points dropped, more disappointment, but still a lot to talk about. So let me bring this man inside the house here. The man himself, tell it as it is. Tony, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, bro? A decent enough evening. It could have been much better. It could have been much better, but unfortunately, it was not. It was not. What about you?
Well, I made some provision and pigtail soup, right? And I was cutting up my veggies and thing in the first half, and
Right.
I boiled on everything, and it tasting real good and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But somehow Manchester United just seems to find a way.
Find our way.
Stop the joy, boy. I can't. I would have enjoyed my evening a lot more, and I would have enjoyed my soup a lot more if we had gotten a better result. But it is what it is. You know what I mean?
It is.
The United support. It is what it is. So Tonio, I always like to start off with the lineups.
Sure.
Because before the game, there's usually you enter into a game with a sense of a sense of dread or a sense of excitement, like right. So let's see if we can erase the game from our memory for a second, and let's go into the lineup. What was your reaction when you saw the lineup?
The funny thing is, when I saw the lineup, I was actually pleased. I was very pleased. I was very pleased with the lineup. But the simple fact that the only change that I would have probably made, and which I kind of understand, is Ralph not starting Elanga, but starting Rashford and Marcus on the opposite flanks, and the composition of the team, that 4-3-3, it looked good on paper. I was glad that Eddie got the start over Cristiano, because I think he gives a little more up top. He's a more of a facilitator with the two forward players, on his wings. And I think it definitely was not a bad lineup. It was enjoyable to see the names that were there, and you get an idea of who Ralph really wants in his team. And in terms of the combination of the fullbacks between Shaw and Dalot, I think that's actually our two probably best performing fullbacks in terms of combination, in terms of gameplay, that we could probably have on the pitch at any particular point in time. So it was good to see. And well, obviously Scotty, holding it down the middle by himself, unfortunately. Well, Fred and both Tellers had COVID also, but I think they would have still been out of the starting lineup.
We're gonna touch on the players in a little bit, and remind me to come back to Scott McTominay when we deal with that, right? In case I don't bring him up. So let me just run through the team quickly. We had De Gea in goal, Maguire, Varane, Delo, Shaw. In front of them, we had McTominay, Pogba, and Fernandes. And ahead of them, we had Cavani, Sancho, and Rashford. And like you, when I saw the lineup, I was like, yeah, man. I see 3 goals marked all over this. You understand? I just watch the lineup and I say, yeah, there's 3 goals there. I was so, it was so confident. So when we were perusing, coasting through the first half, all the domination, all the play, Burnley did not have a shot in the first half.
No.
We were just dominating things. And, 11 minutes in, Varane had the ball in the back of the net off a corner from Bruno Fernandes. And when I saw the replay, I actually thought, yeah, Harry Maguire finally did something sensible, right? In blocking out the man. Lo and behold, VAR comes, watches that over. The softest of soft calls I have ever seen in my life. I mean, maybe these things are for Manchester United players to recognize, to create a siege mentality, a forced siege mentality. With games against Middlesbrough, it was a blatant handball. We didn't get it.
Correct.
Right? talking about inadvertent. I don't care. Watch me. You could be watching this way and your hand up this way, and the ball hit your hand and put it down in your part. Of course, that's inadvertent. You didn't mean to hand the ball, but
Of
the
course.
ball create a
Clearly.
positive reaction for you that help in the
That
scoring of a goal.
clearly,
How?
exactly.
Because by that measure, if they're saying that Harry Maguire was in an offside position and his block, because he was in offside position, his block, right, facilitated Varane's run to make it easier. So even though he wasn't in the play, inadvertently, the bottom line is it helped in the goal.
Yeah.
That is chalked off. But when a man blatantly hand the ball, it was accidental, right? The
Correct.
fact that it end up with a goal scoring, creating an assist, that's okay. But these players have to realize that we just not going to be, this is not the Manchester United of old where you used to get calls in our favor. We
Thank
have
you.
to put away our chances. We can't blame, and I am not blaming the ref. I am not blaming VAR. It was a soft decision in my book, but I am not blaming anybody. I am just saying we have to realize we are not going, we have to play like we're not going to get calls.
Thank
No
you.
needs to,
Thank
when
you.
he hit the ground, once he don't hear the whistle, jump back up. Don't roll,
Yeah.
don't think, don't cuss and carry on. We are not going to get calls. And what upsets me the most is that you have VAR, which is supposed to eliminate mistakes, but we still not getting calls. But what was your thoughts when you saw that goal? As I said, I literally wrote, because I take my little notes because I know we had the program after. I said, yeah, wonderful pass by Bruno Fernandes and good work by Harry Maguire. I saw the replay and I thought that is good work. You know
Good
what I
goal.
mean? People might say,
Yeah.
well, Harry was responsible for us not scoring any goal. That is good work in my book. But what was your reaction?
If you would know me from the beginning when VAR was being brought on or brought into the game, I was against it. I was against it then, and I'm still even more against it now because it takes all the emotion out of the game. It takes the human decisions, human error. All these things are what make football football, and we are now handing it all over to technology and four guys in the back of some room somewhere who probably never kicked a ball in their life, giving you their perspective on black and white laws. And to me, it hurts the game more than it actually helps the game. And when I saw the goal by Varane, it looked very good to me, but I didn't celebrate. You know why? Because it's almost like you can't even celebrate a goal anymore because you actually have to wait. Every time a player scores now, the first thing he has to do is look over to the referee, look over to the linesman, because you never know, anything can be called, and it's really becoming ridiculous to the point where it's taken away from the beautiful game. People are losing a lot of interest in the game because of it. And as I said, it was a beautiful goal. The invention on the goal, we realized, okay, they have a 6 point, it's a 6 guy in the box, so we can't just be drilling in balls all day from the corner. So there was a little bit of invention in the play, and it was a beautiful goal. And to strike something like that off, 10 years ago, would anybody be questioning that? Absolutely not. We would have even probably won a league title, if VAR was around back then. But at the same time, it
saying
takes
10
away
years
from the
ago.
football.
You saying
Yeah,
10 years ago. I know even sure 2 years ago that's not a goal.
exactly.
A matter of fact, this year, with somebody else in the VAR room, that might be a goal. So it's
correct.
because
Correct.
commentary team was saying, yeah, well, that real soft. And the commentary
Yeah,
team normally likes to back up the refs,
the
right?
referee. Correct.
Because they don't like to make the refs look bad. But
Yeah.
they were like, okay, yeah, the man was offside, but Harry Maguire ain't holy man, he ain't foul man, he ain't.
It was barely a love bump. Valentine's Day is coming, but it was barely a love bump, and they called this thing off, and it was unbelievable. It really was unbelievable. It was unbelievable to see.
So instead of being 1-1, it was 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went into the 18th minute where Bruno Fernandes is becoming the Paul Scholes of this team. I have always said, and you would have heard me say many times, Bruno needs to play deeper down the pitch. He needs to
Correct.
play in the air.
Correct.
And ever since Ralph has shifted Bruno and took him away from running up there like a headless chicken in that number 10 role, Bruno has been pulling the strings. He's been finding the pass. His pass accuracy has actually gone up. Could you imagine that?
Improved. Correct.
His
Correct.
pass
Correct.
accuracy has gone up and he's a little lower back in the pitch. But anyway,
Correct.
so Bruno crossed a wonderful ball. Rashford collected it. Rashford put it into Shaw, and then Shaw slid it into the box. Well, he was in the box, put it across the box, and Paul Pogba, excellent finish. 1-0, and you're thinking this is the first of many. I mean,
Many.
what did you think about that goal?
It was well orchestrated. It was a beautiful team goal. It was wonderful to see. It was really wonderful to see, and I think that probably Luke Shaw never wants to see Marcus Rashford on that left side again. You know, he will be comfortable playing with Sancho all game because the intelligence on that left side it raised automatically when you have those two players there. And the whole invention of in terms of the play, it was good to see. Everybody was in position. Paul waited and he finished. He finished well. Although I had a bit of an issue with him during the game because he started to do the whole big body thing, try to get the ball off me kind of thing when you can simply just play the ball, keep the game ticking over, keep it moving, but definitely it was a beautiful goal. Yeah, it was a beautiful goal. It was a beautiful goal. It was a beautiful goal.
Good evening to Siraj, Gregory, Kendall, and Carlton. But Carlton makes this comment here. He says, we are not good enough. Carlton, I really need you to expand on that.
I disagree.
Because to me, the last two games as a team, Manchester United played very well. We created 22. We had 22 chances. 9 shots on target today. 9 shots on target today. 22 chances. Defensively, we also did very well. Right? Burnley had one good chance. They scored it. And that was it. Right? De Gea had one kind of save to do. It was a shot from outside of the box. Right? So, this was not one of those games, nobody is even thinking, well, yeah, De Gea saved us today. No, he didn't, because it wasn't that serious in terms of us defending. So we did well. So I would really want Carlton Carlton is expanding. He said we can't score goals. I can't argue with you there, Carlton. But we'll talk about that a little later. We're actually going to specifically drill down into that point a little later in the program. So we scored the goal, and we told ourselves, yeah, this is it, right? Then, I think in the 18th minute, the 18 minutes when we scored. Not too long after that, the ball was in the back of the net again. Rashford crossed into Cavani. A defender made a mistake. Ball in the back of the net. Then you see the referee raises up his flag. So I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't see anybody offside. What are you raising up this flag for? He raised up his flag for a foul. And this is what upsets me. If the instruction is, don't raise up your flag because, wait and see how the game progresses, because it may be a goal, and then allow VAR to check it.
Correct.
Right? Why is he raising up his flag? Because I am sorry, that mistake, and I don't care what anybody says, that was a mistake. That mistake earlier in the game with giving Harry Maguire disallowing that first goal. It wouldn't have surprised me if the person inside the VAR room decided what was going on. You can't do this twice. We can let our goal pass. Why is the lineman raising up his flag? What? On what is a potentially 50-50 call? One person could look at it and say, yeah, it's a foul. And if they said that, I would not be vexed. Somebody else could have looked at it and say, boy, what's that? That ain't nothing. Right? That wasn't going to affect the goal. Right? Why is he doing that? I don't know. You seeing what I see, and you share my sentiment, or am I just in a
I completely do. I completely do. And as I said, it comes back to sensibility and discretion in the game, understanding how to play an advantage, when and where to blow your whistle, allowing players to go on. And it seems like a lot of these referees is either it's against Manchester United or they simply don't have the intelligence to understand these things, because I was bemused. I was completely bemused. I could not understand. And as I said, we keep seeing these things happen to us over and over again, and it really makes you question, sometimes is there really an agenda? But it was amazing to see that he could have raised his flag in a moment like that when he should have simply let the play continue and let VAR check it after. After all, that's why you have VAR, not so?
And that's why you have those rules.
Correct.
I don't know. I am starting to think we need to stop calling the club Manchester United and call us Charity United. Because it seems to me when we play teams in the bottom half of the table, we like to give them points. Burnley, all they fighting relegation, hold a point. Wolves, hold a point. That's how it seems to me. I don't know, maybe we need to start calling ourselves Charity United, because really, it is beyond ridiculous. So
I fully agree with you, Chad.
Half times comes along as 1-1. And we start the second half. Burnley comes out with a lot of energy, right? And they get a goal. Now, the truth be told, their big new striker did absolutely nothing in the first half. But that drag, that totally dismantled our defense. And that pass was worthy cost of admission for all the Burnley supporters who went into the stadium, right? That
facts,
one move.
Facts.
Because the man really wasn't doing nothing else whole game other than kicking Scott McTominay. Right? That's all he was doing. Right? But that one move was the price of admission. So I'm not taking anything away from the goal. Rodriguez received the ball, cut in front of Harry Maguire, textbook. Facts.
Follow me or let me go.
Go and slide and get the ball because he comes from
it would have been a foul.
It would have been a foul. So he, it kind of hard to blame. There are a lot of times when a goal scores against Manchester United, they could say, yeah, that's this man's fault. That's this one fault. This one and that one. They did that so well. You just had to say, yeah, Burnley, kudos. Thumbs up to you. That was a good goal. Right?
I still blame her. I blame Harry a large part for that goal, though, and I'll tell you why.
Break it down.
Because he was sent for lunch. He's probably still having lunch and a little bit of dinner at the moment right now. Because as a defender, Harry and the thing is, this is a part of his characteristic as a defender. He comes in heavy and flat-footed, so he cannot react when he's easily beaten. And the thing is, strikers or attacking players who come at him, they know this. They love to isolate Harry. That's one thing. They love to isolate him for this very same thing. You have coverage. It's not necessary. Even if you're come to the face of the ball, where if the man has to pass you, he has to go through you. Don't give him don't allow him a direct route between you and the player that is sandwiching him. And after that happened, you left yourself dead because you gave him entry right into your penalty area. You could not foul him from behind. You had to let him go. And that was the result of that. It was a well taken goal. So it should not have happened. But as I said, the problem is no defender is perfect. These things happen, but the problem is these things will always be highlighted with us for one simple reason: the fact that we don't take our chances. If we won 4-1 today, nobody would be really talking about that. It's like, okay, they got a goal. But the fact that we are not clinical, these moments are so highlighted because we don't take our chances. You know why teams like Burnley and Watford always have their moments against us and always take their chances? Because they know their opportunities are going to be limited. So when they get them, they cherish them. But with us, we are always thinking we're a talented team. We're always going to get another opportunity until the 89th minute comes and we are scrambling and wondering where did the time go. We need to be more appreciative of the ball in the final third and what we do with it, because we are just too wasteful.
As I say, I want to take a deep dive into that question, but before we talk about that, I just want to talk about one more thing. I want to read a couple of comments though. Second half reverted the same old United, too much sideways and backwards passing. I like this comment here. Even with the poor decisions, we did not show up in the second half. Why did the coach take so long to make the subs? We needed some freshmen just to try something new. And Carlton also said for the first 20 minutes of the second half, we did not have a shot. And of course, the best comment of the evening, man sent Maguire for two doubles with slight. You understand? That is what it was. Um, who were your standout? Let's take a look. Who were your standout players? We're not talking man of the match, because as far as I'm concerned,
Of
I don't
course.
know. When Manchester United draw, I just feel like we lose. Normally, when I talk, and
Facts.
I just be saying, "Boy, we lost the game," and men had to be correct and right. We didn't lose, we draw. But it does feel like a loss, especially when you dominate the game, especially when you're supposed to win the game comfortably. We had
Facts.
two
Facts.
disallowed goals, right? The reality is, if we scored two goals, Burnley did not have a prayer. Burnley was not going to score two goals. It was for them. It was a miracle that they scored one. In the
Facts.
last 6 games, Burnley has not scored a goal against Manchester United. So it was like they probably was on cloud nine that they just scored a goal. All we needed to do was score another goal. But who were
Yeah.
your standout? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Who was
Um,
your standout? And it don't have to be one. Who are the players that you stood out in the game today?
the players who really stood out for me were, well, first and foremost, Sancho, who I think needs to be a little more selfish in the final third. He is too much of a facilitator. He always wants to get everybody in the game, but there are moments when he creates space for himself, when he just needs to have a go at it and take it by the scruff of his neck. But Luke Shaw started off the game very well. The combination between the two on that left was good to see. It was
I wanna
better than the intelligence.
I wanna
Yeah,
say something about Luke Shaw.
sure.
For me, and people in the comments, you could let me know, what it is, what you think about this. But for me, Luke Shaw is better than Alex Tellez, because
Facts.
Alex Tellez don't make those in the box runs. Alex Tellez will run down that wing, he'll get the
And
ball,
cross the ball.
he'll cross it. If you don't hit him the ball, he's going to stop. He's going to go back up to make a next run back down the way. He does not cut into the box. Luke Shaw will make those runs into the box. He created that assist in that first goal, and he also did it many other times. You understand?
Yeah.
Luke Shaw, yes, he will cross, right? But what Alex Tellez doesn't do, Luke Shaw does,
Facts.
in making those runs. And so
Runs in
once
behind.
Luke
Yeah.
Shaw steps up, I know there was a talk among United supporters once, about a month and a half ago. Well, yeah, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw out, Alex Tellez and the low in. Once Luke Shaw plays to his potential, I don't see Alex Tellez benching Luke Shaw. I'm sorry.
That's
Alex
exactly.
Tellez might
That's
make it into
exactly
the
it.
Brazil team. He is not the best left back at Manchester United. Wan-Bissaka and the low is another story. So go ahead. You said Luke Shaw
Right.
stood out to
So
you. Sancho. Who else?
Sancho, Luke Shaw, Paul played well, even though I had a couple of issues with him in terms of his energy levels in the midfield today, but he played well also. Dalo had a good game until coming on to the end when he started. I don't know if he started to get a bit tired, but he started to get a bit wasteful, and he was making some runs that weren't the smartest at the right times, but he still had a good game. And Marcus Rashford, who I am always very critical of, the minutes that he played today, he had a decent game. I was asking for him to be a little more inventive in his play, because attacking wise, I think he has become so predictable that you're already knowing what he's going to do. Is either he's going to try to cut in on you, beat two men, and probably try to strike the ball. He's not really inventive in terms of taking him. But as soon as I said that today, we see you saw what he did. He went through two players like that, which shows his ability. So when these players are playing up to potential, we see the best out of them. And I don't know, Bruno, of course, he was the one pulling the strings from deep. And I know it's not a position that he really loves to play, simply because he loves to get forward, he loves to be in the action. But if you're creating stability in that middle and in behind, and progressively play well and helping us to manage the game, then for me, that's where he needs to be, at least right at this particular point in time, definitely. But those were my standout players for the game, really and truly.
I was going to say this about the low, and I see Carlton said it, so I just put up his comment. I appreciate the low's runs. I appreciate the low recognizing that we play in a team that is not doing a lot offensively because that is intelligence.
Of
When
course.
you recognize that here, what this team is not doing enough offensively, so I could be an extra attacker. I could cut inside and be an extra attacker, and I appreciate that. But you also have to appreciate, the law also has to appreciate that not because the men not doing much means they're toothless. He was caught out
Correct.
of position a few times, and and another day we could have lost that game instead of
Yeah.
drawing it. So the
Yeah.
law have
Yeah.
to, he has to manage, he had to manage his runs. He can't just go crazy. Now, if the manager told him to do that and he was just following instructions, that's different. That's fine. I can't blame the player for doing what the manager tell it to do. But he still also has to he has to gauge his intelligence. I want us to
Correct.
discuss this statement a little bit, and then we're gonna jump into Manchester United's woeful finishing. Good evening. Now joined here until such time as we get a team on the field, minus stars and players with their own agenda, right? The fortunes of Manchester United, and I'm sorry, and the fortunes of Manchester United becomes the focus, we will continue to be in trouble. And I want to bring in two people with that statement from Valentino Singh. Rashford and Cristiano Ronaldo. Marcus Rashford, to me, is starting to show signs that he's getting his mojo back. I wouldn't say he has his mojo back, but
Far from
I'm
it.
seeing signs that he's getting his mojo back, which is good because we need Marcus Rashford to be on point, right? But image sometimes I think gets into the minds of certain players. For people who don't know, Marcus Rashford, like Cristiano Ronaldo, has a whole PR team. Most players have an agent, and they may have somebody who have access to their social
The
media, so they
social media.
give them a tweet or whatever. Marcus Rashford has a PR company, right? Managing his accounts, managing because Marcus Rashford is not just a football player. Marcus Rashford is Sir Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is a very influential person in the politics of the UK, not for any party, but in terms of social inequality and social justice and social services. He's a personality, Marcus Rashford is. And sometimes I wonder if these things, as Valentino is suggesting, plays on the mind of people. Cristiano Ronaldo himself is a brand. And I wonder if it plays on the mind if these players sometimes, because the shot Cristiano Ronaldo took on the wing, he was never scoring that. This
Never.
goalkeeper did not show anything in the game to
To
suggest that he was going to
suggest.
beat him. Sometimes you might see a goalkeeper and you might think this fella weak. The shots Rashford took were of higher quality,
Quality. Facts.
and the man beat them away. What make you think you will square the ball? But okay, yeah, go score, you take a shot, it was on target, the keeper beat it away. To me, the best opportunities in the second half fell to Cristiano Ronaldo. Two headers. The two best opportunities of the second half fell to Cristiano Ronaldo. Two headers. Both headers he sent over back. Not testing the keeper, not on target. What is wrong with Cristiano Ronaldo? One, because he is our point man. And what is wrong with Manchester United overall, too, that we're not finishing teams? Why are we playing with our food?
For me, a major factor, and I said it on the show on Sunday, is that I think even Cristiano himself is underestimating what his body is still capable of doing. You can, as I said, you could run into an ice bath or an ice chamber or whatever he does right after a game. But age is something that catches up to everybody, and definitely we are seeing signs of that. I'm not saying he's a dud anymore. He can't perform. I just think that if he were at Manchester City, he would be scoring bags of goals because he would have 1,000,001 facilitators around him. And if we know one thing Cristiano Ronaldo is good at is getting into the right positions. Unfortunately, he's at Manchester United where that opportunity is not going to come as precise or as calculated anymore. So he has to do a lot more on his own in a sense. And I don't think he's really capable of doing such anymore.
You know, I was talking to um I was talking to a friend of mine on another show in the lineup called Busty Net. And I was asking him because he plays what we'll call amateur football in Trinidad, fit match football. All right, he plays with I-95 and he's a striker. And I asked him, I said, to me, Cristiano Ronaldo seems like he is not fully engaged, like he has stepped down a level. What was his opinion as somebody who plays and somebody who may see something else? And he told me, he said, no, Chad, no. He was adamant. It is not that Cristiano Ronaldo is stepped down a level. He said Cristiano Ronaldo just does not have the legs to do what he used to do. He's flat out. He said, no, it ain't no step down. It's not, it is, he just can't do what he used to do. He used to be able to do certain things. He cannot do it anymore. Those two headers today prove that to me. Cristiano Ronaldo used to get so much height. The first one, I mean, you're in the 6-yard box. You just put that on target. Who knows? Pope might have pulled out another amazing goal. But other than that, that was goal. And the second one, in particular, was even more upsetting for me because you get in the position where you're there alone and all you had to do is flick the ball. And if your height and your positioning is good, Cristiano scores that 9 out of 10 times. Or I should say a younger version of Cristiano scores that 9 out of 10 times. So Manchester United has a crisis in my book, and I'm trying not to be over dramatic.
You're not.
Our two forwards are 34 and 37 years old. Our two forwards are, in football terms, the wrong side of 30 and on the way down. Because Rashford is more of a winger than a striker, and he has been that forever.
Correct.
Sancho is not a striker at all. He can play a false nine. He can play off a striker, but that is not what he is. Correct. And the only other striker we have is presently suspended. We have a lot of football to play. We have Champions League to play. Ralph has done something. He has tweaked some stuff, and we're creating more chances. But with two aging strikers, I know people mightn't like to say it, they mightn't like to hear it, they don't like to consider Ronaldo aging, they feel he's ageless. He has the body of a 27-year-old, which he does. But, we have to admit it, Manchester United is in crisis. We have two old strikers, and we are struggling for goals. How is Ralph going to address this?
Well, for me, this came from the beginning of the season with Ole, and I think it all started again with Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't think he was a signing that anybody expected. It came in and it changed the entire dynamic. I think when Ole was here, I think his idea of this season was going to have Edinson Cavani and Mason Greenwood playing that forward position, interchanging. That is what, and Mason started off there this season, and he was banging in the goals. He was probably our best player at the beginning of the season. Then we made a certain purchase which forced us to push him back out far wide. The person who we consider to be the best finisher in the team, we pushed him back out far wide, which he was supposed, which is where he played last season, and he's not bad, but that's not where he's best. You want him in and around the box, and I think we are suffering because of that. And now we're trying to find a dynamic where we're trying to create goals in the teams. But as I said, we have two aging forwards, and we're paying the price for it now. And clearly, we didn't go out in January to try. I mean, I sometimes wonder what really goes on in the minds of the Manchester United board, because it's almost like if they forget that you can bring players in on loan. Just like give you a lift or push your team towards the end of the season. I mean, it's almost like they reacted to this transfer window like we weren't even pushing for Champions League, and it was disappointing to see they didn't try to consolidate the team in any way, form, or fashion. Bringing a young forward, call back somebody from something, and nothing was done. We were just trying to get players off the books, and we are suffering for it now. So to me,
I wanna say
this
something that may come
sure.
across crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say it, get your opinion, and then I will tell you why I say it after. Do you
Sure.
think we should promote Hugo to the first team?
Why not? Why not? Why not? What can we lose? Actually, I will even go further. I definitely think that this summer is an opportunity for us to bring and bleed youths into the team. I mean, we cannot do any worse, and at least you know you're going to get players into the team who are going to fight and are hungry and who actually want things, are not entitled or privileged as yet. You know, and they're going to give everything for the team because clearly we're seeing, you know, the likes of bringing Ilanga, bring back Ghana from Nottingham Forest. I watched him play over the weekend and he actually he played so well that I am wondering why these guys are not back in and around the squad. You know, the Mengies, bring these guys back, bleed them into the team and let us push forward, bring in added quality here and there to consolidate the team. But definitely now is the time for that. I can't see a better time because we have to shed a lot of weight coming in summer also.
And the reason why I threw out promoting, and for people who don't
Hugo,
know who that is, he is a young striker. I think he's in the under
tall.
23s, under 18s, but he is scoring a lot of goals. He's very
Yeah,
good. When Adama first came, you know, they started showing a lot of under 23 games more, you know, because Adama was, you know, and the truth be told, Hugo was the man scoring the goals. You know, when we see
facts.
teams United and you know youth team beating teams 6 and 7, he used to be having hat tricks all the time. Now the reason I say
Facts.
that is because Marcus Rashford was promoted because of injuries. It was a need.
Mm-hmm.
Then Marcus Rashford is still young, and then we had another phenom in Greenwood coming up. Both of these guys are still young, and then we have Hugo. Now, to be honest with you, it is rare in any academy. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, the best academies in the world, to produce three top strikers in 5 years. That is a rarity. So
Facts.
one could say, yeah, what Lightning ain't gonna strike 3 times, you're gonna promote this guy, he's gonna end up like Macheda, he might score 2 3 goals and then disappear. Maybe, maybe, but right now, I don't see any, you know, because Carlton is saying we need to move the ball faster. One of the, I would have said that for Manchester United prior to Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo don't have the legs to keep up with Marcus Rashford and Sancho. I have seen when we get fast breaks, sometimes Cristiano Ronaldo holds up the ball and passes it back. He slows down the
So he
play
can
because
get so he can get into position.
right
Correct,
because he
correct,
cannot
correct.
run with these guys. Even and I could include Bruno Fernandes in that. If 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 Rashford, Sancho, and Ronaldo start running from the halfway line, and it was at 3-on-2, by the time they reach down the road, it's 2-on-2 because Cristiano Ronaldo is not there. Bruno might quickly reach
Facts.
and pass him. You understand? So it is not as easy to say, well, yeah, we just need to pass the ball faster and push up more. That is not that easy if Cristiano
Yeah.
Ronaldo is in the team. And then additionally, if he's not in the team, Cavani is many things. One thing Cavani has never been known for in his career is pace.
Peace.
If we don't have Ronaldo, we have Cavani. We can't fast break with these guys. We can't. You know, it's not like we can't. It is not an option. We just cannot do it. So we really are in a crisis. And I mean, I do expect a manager to jump up and say that because the first question any decent reporter will ask him, well, why the club didn't do something about that in the winter window. So I do expect Ralph
Right.
to say that we're in a crisis. He is going to keep saying correctly so that we should be scoring more goals. And nobody could deny that. We should be
Of
scoring more
course
goals.
not. Of course not.
Um Kendall is saying that we are too predictable. And I think a lot of our players are predictable. Rashford is predictable. Delo is becoming predictable. The only real guy we have on the pitch up front is Jadon Sancho, because Ronaldo and all is predictable to me. Because I see Ronaldo, depending on where he gets the ball, you know he's looking for a pass because he's looking to pass and get into position to score.
Mm-hmm.
He is not taking on players if they're in front of him, right? He gets that ball at players in front of him, he's going to pass. And he ain't trying nothing fancy. So he's predictable. Depending on where he is around the box, you know he's going to try to turn and shoot. You cut off the shooting lane, you're going to get a block, easy block. So Ronaldo is predictable. The only reason Bruno Fernandes is not predictable is because he moves the ball so fast. He hits those passes so quickly.
That is key.
You don't have time to reach him to mark off the pass. He is going to hit that ball and hit it at 30 yards pass. So you know he's going to do it, but you can't stop it.
You can't stop it.
I know people like that I don't consider predictable because, you know, once you can't stop them, that's great. So, you know, to me, Ralph could only continue to tweak, to continue to get this team to create more chances and hope. You know, we have to hope. Everybody who is like, yeah, if it wasn't for Cristiano Ronaldo, we wouldn't have been out of the Champions League groups. And Cristiano Ronaldo is why we... Okay, let's hope that Cristiano Ronaldo, Mr. Champions League, shows back up sometime. Because I haven't seen him in about 6 games now.
6 games.
Right? He has not been anywhere to be seen. And Edison Cavani is showing his age as well. Now, don't get me wrong, Cavani works hard. He tries. I mean, that header today, I am sure he probably couldn't imagine how that didn't score. Nick Pope was having an unbelievable game. He is definitely Burnley's man of the match, right? You know, he was just scrambling. So, okay. But still, we need more. We need more. And I think promoting Hugo or even starting Ilanga. No, don't get me wrong. Sancho played well. Rashford played well. I am not saying, you know, but there's a energy Ilanga brings, being the young one on the pitch. It is something that Greenwood used to bring running at players. You know, and I'm telling you right now, based on what I've seen with my eyes, the person I drop in is Rashford. Because Sancho running at players, and Ilanga will run at players. Rashford has run at players and lose the ball. Right? That's the difference between
facts.
I'm running at players, you know, but Rashford will run at players and lose the ball. Ilanga and Sancho will run at players and either create a shot or get a pass.
Or retain the ball. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, Ilanga needs to start back because that is the dynamism that we need. You know, we need to create some tap-ins for Cristiano Ronaldo. And it might seem like an insult to say a man like Cristiano Ronaldo needs some tap-ins, but sometimes you just need a goal to get your mojo back. Look at Rashford.
Yeah.
2 late goals, and his mojo seems to be coming back. And it may seem bad to say we need to put him on the bench, but we need something else. We need somebody to do the hard work and just cut a ball in and Ronaldo just stand up there and poops.
That's it right there. That is it right there. That is it right there.
That's what we need, you know, just get Ronaldo to tap-ins and maybe he might get him, you know, that energy back in his legs. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I thought you were just saying facts. So
The thing about it is, I would actually even love to see a front line of, you know, you have Sancho on the left, Ilanga, because he can play as a forward also, and you have Marcus Rashford on the right. It gives you a little more dynamism on top, and we have to be willing as a team to try these things, because I am telling you, the way that we are playing, we have absolutely nothing to lose. Because our problem right now, remember, initially, earlier on, our problem was what? Letting in too many goals, leaking too many goals, and now the issue is what? We lock that down. So now the issue is, right, okay, the defense kind of doing what they're supposed to do. Now the spotlight is on the front line. So
Spoil
no
them.
longer the back line isn't taking the blame anymore because they're not leaking. So now the onus is on you guys to go out and do what you're supposed to do. And as I said, I think that Ole had it in his mind that he wanted his front line to be a front line of Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, and Jadon Sancho, a flying forward line. And that changed when Cristiano Ronaldo came. So I think we just have to. I really hope that he just spends one season with us and he moves on. He moves on elsewhere. No, no love lost, no anything like that. I was glad to see him back and whatnot. But definitely, we cannot go into a 2022 into 2023 season with this again. And he's definitely not going to accept a role as a super sub coming off the bench, is he? He's going to probably find a better situation for himself if it comes down to that. But I think that's definitely what needs to happen. We need more legs, more energy, more impetus on top, more runners, more guys running in behind, causing however. You can be predictable, you know, but you cannot be predictable and slow. And that's our problem there. You cannot be predictable and slow. Valencia was one of the most predictable players that you could have come across. But at the end of the day, when he pushed down that line and he swings in that ball, you could not have stopped him because he was good at what he did. Simple, but he was good at what he did. Simple as that.
For me, Cristiano Ronaldo should be going to the US. No, don't get me wrong, eh? We're saying this now. And Cristiano Ronaldo will score a couple goals. And everybody could be like, oh, they were saying he was done. And he did. No, I never say Cristiano done. Tonio never say Cristiano washed up.
Never did.
Is he is losing a step. And if you use your eyes to see and not your heart, you can it is there for everybody to see.
Everybody to see.
And all I'm saying is that the best place for Cristiano to continue to shine bright is to do what Ibra did, which was and Beckham and many other before. Go to the US, continue to be an ambassador for football, and continue to do you do until you decide whether you, because I think Ronaldo is intelligent enough probably to coach if he wants. I know he is definitely a winner, so he could, the options are there. He could walk in any station and say, I want to commentate for you, and they'll be like, sure. They'll just sign him
easily.
a 7 million, seven figure check one time. Say, yeah, come, please be part of our commentary. So the sky is the limit for Cristiano Ronaldo. The sky is not the limit for Cristiano Ronaldo striking for Manchester United. That is what I'm saying.
Right? Agreed.
The sky is the limit for him. The sky is not the limit for him and us together. That partnership has a shelf life of the rest of this season.
Facts.
It can't be anything else. So, bro. So
it's a tough time. It's a tough time to be a Manchester United fan. It's tough. It's so many different things, bro. I fully understand. It's so many little things.
So West Ham won their game today.
Mm-hmm.
And a matter of fact, before we talk a little bit about the other games, let's do this.
Support the United Hour. Click that like button and subscribe.
You heard what the lady said, people. So I don't need to repeat it. Now, Donny van de Beek made his appearance for Everton today in a very familiar space on the bench. So he started on the bench, he came off, he got 30 minutes. Everton lost to Newcastle. Let me repeat that for those who may not have heard it clearly. Everton lost to Newcastle. Newcastle scored 3 goals. Newcastle probably can't remember the last time they scored 3 goals in one game. But they did today against Frank Lampard's Everton. Donny came off the bench. Dele Alli came off the bench. I can't remember who the third top was, but they lost. Right? They had 2 own goals in the game. So the goal that Everton scored was an own goal. And the first goal that Newcastle scored was an own goal as well. What hopes do you have for Donny van de Beek? I know it's the first game. I know it takes time for these people to attack. But the truth is, it's not just, it's easy to say it takes time for the players to adjust to a new system. There's also a new coach. So
Correct.
he wasn't playing with his team before. He and these players all came in at the same time. So, okay, but all right. We probably met coaching staff there. They probably do things a particular way, and it'll take time for them to adjust. But do you see Donny making it into that Everton team?
I saw when he came on, and he actually came on in the 60 minutes. As I said, he got 30 minutes today. I watched I was kind of flipping between games, and I saw about 10 minutes of his play, and he looked fairly decent enough. Only time will really tell with Donny and if he'll make his way to Frank's team. Now, what we know is that Frank loves intelligent players, so I know that he's definitely going to try to find a way to incorporate him into the team, but only time will tell. I mean, he's been asking for the opportunity. He's been asking to leave. He's been asking for more time. This is his opportunity to get such, and he has to prove himself for. I mean, there's just no excuses. No excuses. None at all. But I really hope that he does, and I would like to see him push on and back into the Holland team for the World Cup. And as I said, Ralph seems to want to be bringing him back into the team because we did not put a buyout clause or a sell-on clause on him, which means that we would like to have him back, but definitely we would like to see him progress. Even Martial at Sevilla also. We want to see him do well. I would like to see him do well.
The coach, the manager of Sevilla.
I heard what he said.
And he said that Martial has to show them more.
Sounds familiar?
The only way I could interpret that is that as far as he's concerned, Martial wasn't putting it. He wasn't making enough effort. Now, we have been saying that people have been calling Martial lazy. I have, for one, has been defending Martial. Oh, boy, he's not a man lazy. He just don't smile. He just have a serious face, but he does think. But, I mean, I hope that these guys could go and elevate their stock. Not for them to come back necessarily and play with us.
Not at all.
At least increase their value if we're going to sell them. But when people go away and you hear the same things, because trust me, Donny van der Beek is so popular. If he doesn't start the next game, some reporter is going to ask Frank Lampard, why are you not starting Donny van der Beek? And if Frank Lampard says, well, Donny trains well and he will get his chances, I am telling you, if I was Donny, I would just go to the closest skyscraper and jump off.
Just jump off.
Whole story, right? So let's hope, because these guys have moved on. Not permanently, they're on loan. That is why we're talking about them. And, it seems like the same old story. So let's hope. It's still early days. It's just one game each. This Brazil, this guy who's playing in Flamengo right now, I don't know why his name, Pereira is that deal seems to be going through. So we're going to be selling Pereira to Flamengo, hopefully for 40 million euros. And that is a lot of money in terms of a Brazilian club paying for a player. That's a lot of money. What do you think about that move?
I think it's beautiful to see because I mean, Andres was one of because he just seemed to be one of those players that now granted when he went to Spain he did not have the worst time out there, but it just seemed like coaches weren't completely sold on him, and every team he went to it always kind of starts off okay and then he kind of fizzles out a bit. So it was almost like we are going to struggle to find a buyer for this man because I mean he's been on loan so many times. So I'm glad he got the opportunity to go back home. Most Brazilians tend to get homesick a lot. So I'm glad he got the opportunity to go back home, perform well. And I mean, if we actually get that amount of money for him, whoever's orchestrating that deal, I mean, they need to be my personal accountant because they need to be my financial advisor because come on. I mean, as I should not be at all. But we're thankful. We are definitely thankful.
Yes, indeed. Carlton is saying United spent €1 billion over the last 10 years, Carlton, but that is a whole show unto itself. We don't even want to start to talk about the mismanagement of spending, because to me, I'm just going to say this and we're going to close off the program. Ed Woodward is like the state. They give you with one hand and they take with the next. So
With
they
the
tell you
next.
again, they tell you they're giving you some incentive for something and they raise taxes. So when you check it up, more often than not is a net minus than a net plus. When you add, when you
Facts
put all the pluses and the minuses. And that's what,
together.
because everybody would say for Edward Ward, he has increased the value of the club, yes. He has increased the commercial side of the club, yes. And all of that revenue, he spent it poorly. So after $1 billion, how much trophies we had to show for it? You understand what I'm saying? How much of a team do we have to show for it? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did more in terms of building a proper Manchester United team in 2 seasons than Edward Wood did in 10 years. You understand what I'm saying? And excuse me, because Ole was a football person with a football brain, and he's not even the biggest brain. I'm not even saying Ole is, he just had a bit of a football brain. What Ed should have done was bring football people in earlier. And let's hope that the club has learned from that. So between now and the next 10 years and the next billion going to spend, because football players' prices only going to be going up, not going down. The next billion, hopefully we have some silverware to show for it. Now that Ed is out the door, we're going to start checking from the next window, because in Ed's last window, he did, he just did for Manchester United. Ed is a gift that keeps on giving badly. Ed is that person that every year is pay Argyle socks and they don't use Argyle socks. You understand? That is Ed giving you underwear, and when you put it on, it's too tight. You can't use it. That's Ed Woodward to Manchester United. So for his last transfer window, we still needed a CDM. We needed a striker. We didn't, because clearly, at the end of the window, we didn't need one at the beginning, but we needed one at the end. And what did we get? Nothing. We get a repackaged Jesse Lingard. Right? That's what we get. A repackaged Jesse Lingard.
Men are gonna say, well, he brought he brought in Sancho, he brought in Varane. It's like, and I have to keep reminding people, I'm like, bro, he brought in Sancho a year later than he was actually supposed to be here. That's number one. He brought in Rafael Varane. Why we can say Champions League Varane. At the end of the day, Varane is also looking for his last big deal, and he got that at Manchester United. And they brought in an aging Cristiano Ronaldo. So
that no goal real hurt, man.
Yeah, it hurt me. It hurt us.
It hurt us because the finish from Varane was almost
beautiful.
That was
correct.
So perfectly.
No, you actually saw the goal before the ball actually went into the net. The placement was so perfect that you celebrated even before it went in. Correct. But it's tough. It's tough.
Let's hope Rafael Varane gets his goal sooner rather than later. And maybe we could really have a goal, a centre back that is a real goal threat. Because what we thought we were getting with Harry, as Robert is saying, Leicester continues to laugh at us because it's cat and bag right through with Harry Maguire. Darren, we're just going to touch on Darren's comment. Darren says, damn, we should have kept Donny van de Beek. And the one thing I have to say is this. Donny van de Beek was the most expensive ball boy at Manchester United. And I have no issue with him going and playing his trade at Everton. I'm going to give you the last word, Tony.
I have to definitely agree with you on that. And, I think we need to also remember, even within this time, we're seeing progress a bit slowly, but we're still seeing progress nonetheless. I think people are forgetting where we were in terms of leaking goals. So at the end of the day, I still see us going in a better direction than we were in previously. And we just have to keep pushing and just, try to get to that fourth spot and in those Champions League places in the summer, because we still need to attract other players also, and we need to understand the importance of this. So, let me hold strong, bundle together, because we all need a little bit of counseling as Manchester United supporters at the moment, but we're gonna keep pushing. And as President Chad always says, Manchester United fans, we don't die, you know, we multiply, so we just had to keep together and keep pushing and keep supporting the team.
Yes, indeed. This is the breakdown. Signing off. Stay tuned if you didn't see it, even though the game is finished. Devin and CJ Antonio did an excellent show in terms of their breakdown of the Burnley game. And then there's also, we have another program on the channel recently, the Busty Net, with myself. Had a very insightful conversation, had a nice little convo inside of there about Cristiano Ronaldo and Pogba and a couple other players. So check those videos out. All right, guys. Good night.
Hey, if you appreciate what we're doing here at the United Hour, please like, please subscribe, and let's grow this community.